We're going to talk about another jet that's near and dear to we've talked about on this show before, and that is the Eurofighter Typhoon.
Europe knows how to make some good looking airplanes, man.
Yeah, I feel like there's not a whole lot of different ways you can make them, but these days. All right, so in March of 2024, because we just talked about the Typhoon and the RAF being involved in the Israeli Iranian drone / cruise missile shoot down, so the Brits were involved in that. But this article is talking about in March of 24, 6 RAF Eurofighter Typhoons were deployed to Romania's. I can't.
Doug.
Yeah.
Doug.
Mihail
Oh, dude.
Air Base for NATO's enhanced air policing mission, marking 30 years since the Typhoon's first flight. So basically, developed by Germany, Italy, Spain, these multi-role combat aircraft will undertake air policing missions alongside the Romanian Air Force until August of 2024. It's the RAF's fifth in Romania since 2014, underscores NATO's commitment to securing its airspace in response to security challenges, particularly following Russia's annexation of Crimea, showcases the enduring frontline capability. So that's pretty much what this is about, is that, you know, the Typhoon has now stepped up a lot, and the RAF is going to their quick reaction alert or quick reaction forces for basically patrols to kind of flex NATO's muscle against Russia and their continued possible aggression, you know, to kind of keep them at bay and keep them where they are. And they're basically saying it helps keep Europe's skies secure. I pay tribute to dedicated personnel delivering this important mission, says the UK Defense Secretary Grant. I just lost it. Grant Shapps. Ready to launch at a moment's notice for the next 4 months. They will respond with professionalism to threats and incidents in support of our collective security. And then you can see some stuff about the Eurofighter. Obviously, it's an awesome aircraft, Gonky. You've talked about it on your channel. We've talked about it here before, as far as, you know, how good it is. I mean, do they consider, is it Gen 4.5? Is it kind of in between? Because it's a pretty advanced. I mean, everybody I've talked to that's fought them has been like, dude, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that they're not using the I guess they're still, the F-35 is not what they want to use for this mission yet. Because you think when, you know, you're talking, you know, NATO security, Poland has gotten the F-35, and, you know, they obviously still got the F-16, and we've talked about their upgrades to the F-16 and stuff, and Greek is moving on to the F-35. But it's interesting that that this aircraft, the Typhoon, is still being used for these NATO missions, and even used 2 days ago in Israel for that as well. In fact, I would not be surprised, based on the date of this article, it could be very similar, you know, different squadrons, you know, from these groups that are going down and forward deploying to shoot down the drones and stuff. But what do you think? I mean, what do you think for, you know, the Typhoon in Europe?
Well, you know, you talk about them using it, you know, in this, like they just shot down, right? They helped shoot down a lot of these Iranian drones. I mean, I was trying to look it up here, but you know, a lot of your so, you know, the whole 5th gen thing, stealth, right? That means you got to carry stuff internal. And I just think, Mover, that maybe part of the issue is, I mean, we talked about it, right? How many F-35s would it take to shoot down 70 drones? How many Strike Eagles would it take to shoot down 70 drones, right? So I think the Typhoon probably, for a lot of the other missions minus stealth, might be a better platform because it can carry a lot more weapons. Probably since it's been around for a lot longer, it's probably authorized and cleared, and the tactics have been established for a entire spread of weapons. So if they need an airplane now, it's like Typhoon is ready.
That's a good point.
You know, JSF might on paper be better, but we haven't doped that out yet, right? We haven't tested it. And then, you know, like I said, it's as soon as you put pylons on Fat Amy, you might as well launch an F-35, right?
You mean a Typhoon?
That's what I meant. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I've seen a lot of the Navy
Yeah.
versions of the F-35 flying around with, pilots, just stuff hanging on the wings. I'm like, you might as well be driving around in a Super Hornet, So, and that's a generalization. I get it.
Mm.
But my point is maybe the Typhoon is the aircraft that's ready now. And that's why it's kind of the star of the show, at least for them. And I would say, much like the Super Hornet, I don't think F-35, a lot of the countries that have some mixed fleets, I don't think F-35 is going to completely replace, right? It'll complement. So,
well, I think you make a good point too, and we've talked about this previously of why the F-35 may have not been used by NATO partners in the Israeli conflict, and that is, OPSEC. You don't want to telegraph what its capabilities are. You don't want to put it in a foreign country.
right.
You don't want to forward deploy it when you're not ready for it, and you send your workhorse. That's why we're sending F-16s and F-15Es in the Middle East to do some of this stuff, because that's not what it's called for now. And you don't need stealth. We're not
right.
day one through 6.9 of the war. We are in the, hey, we're just doing a show of presence, show of force, and that involves a really highly capable fighter that if somebody trundles across the border, we need to deal with it, and they need to know we're there. We're not necessarily using any of the stealth piece or anything like that. So it's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I listened to a aircrew interview. He does a lot of good interviews with guys who've flown the Typhoon, and I can't remember who, but I listened to one of them the other day, and it was kind of when they first brought in the Typhoon. He talked about how they developed its air-to-air game and its air-to-ground, and he was a Jaguar guy, right? He was an air-to-ground guy, but it was pretty interesting, and obviously, I mean, he basically confirmed to me that it is an extremely capable airplane, and we flew with him a little bit in Malaysia as well. So, and I got to talk to the British pilots and stuff and hang out with them, and it's a good airplane. I mean, it's definitely good looking. Now, you know me, I like a good looking airplane.
Joe says, hi guys, good point about the F-35's weapon load. I wonder if it also be OPSEC not revealing its capabilities. That's what we were just saying.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that's a definite thing. All right, moving on.